Welcome to the Balanced Blueprints podcast, the show where we break down the real challenges of balancing high school academics, sports, health and wellness, mental well-being, and home life. I'm your host, Harper, and if you've ever felt like there just aren't enough hours in the day to juggle practice, homework, family, and maybe a little bit of time for yourself, then you're in the right place. Each episode will dive into practical tips, real stories, and expert advice to help you stay on top of all of it without burning out. Whether you're an athlete struggling to keep up with schoolwork, a student pushing for straight A's trying to maintain friendships, or somebody who's just looking for balance in a busy life, we've got you covered. So take a deep breath, grab your water bottle, and let's figure out this crazy balancing act together. This is the Balanced Blueprints podcast. Let's get into it. First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, what grade you're in, all the extracurriculars you do.
I'm Val. I'm a senior, and I do lacrosse, and I used to do dance growing up my entire life, but I stopped doing it just because it, interfered with, my high school, activities, so I quit. And I'm also a basketball manager now. And let's see, I like to hang out with friends, I like to go to church, do group stuff, and yeah.
Cool. So you are religious?
Yeah, I am.
How has having a relationship with God helped you?
I think, so not gonna lie, my beginning of my relationship with Jesus was really hard just because I feel like if I can't see you and talk to you, then it's not real because
I feel that.
I'm talking to a wall and I'm not getting answers right away. So it kind of sucks. And I also, during that time, I would say, sophomore year was definitely, a hard year for me because I had a boyfriend for, 2 years, and we broke up. And I just, felt really, low because I put everything into him, and I, didn't have any friends just because I would hang out with him all the time. So when we broke up, I was, really, lonely and, trying to regain my relationship with Jesus. And it was definitely a struggle because I couldn't, talk to him.
Right.
And I'm if you really love me, why would you do all these things to hurt me? But at the end of the day, it was, definitely to prove a point and to make me stronger, and it is the reason why I am today. So it was struggling. My relationship with him was, a little rocky at first, but I started to go to church very frequently with, my friends, my family, and then I would do, Young Life at school and, go on these trips over the summer with him, and it just, really, in this past summer, I did, a work crew trip, and it's, where I go to a camp, and I serve, so I, volunteer every day, without getting paid, and, serving kids to help them find the Lord, and it really just changed my perspective. So now I have a really good relationship with him, and I read my Bible a lot, and I talk to him, and it's way better now.
That's so beautiful.
Thanks.
So it sounds like you're pretty busy.
I am so busy, all the time.
So how do you maintain your relationship with your family and friends and make time for them with such a busy schedule?
Yeah, that's honestly a good question. So I'm busy. After school, I usually have basketball practice or lacrosse now that it's starting up. So it's really hard to make time with my family because my family is very oriented and they like to have sit down dinners every night. And me getting home at the time I get home, they've already eaten dinner. So I just sit at the table alone. And some Saturdays, the basketball team has games. So I don't really see them throughout the day. And same with my friends. I see a lot of them at school, but after school, they all go hang out, and, sometimes I just don't go with them because I'm, tired or burnt out. But I try my hardest just by, keeping a good balance and, trying not to overpower one over the other. So I'm, I have basketball this day, but also, I, won't go sometimes to hang out with my friends. Or, I'll just tell or my friends will come see me at basketball. They go to all the games and they talk to me. And, when we have stuff at our coach's house, I'll invite my friends. So, to make sure it's balanced and uneven. And same with my family. My family is really supportive, so they go to every basketball game because they're so happy I'm doing this for some weird reason. And so it definitely makes me feel better because towards the beginning they didn't go to any, and I just kind of was damn, this sucks.
Yeah.
And then they started going, and I was okay, this is better. And then they would take me home when we have away games, and we would just get dinner from there. So I think having a good balance and not prioritizing one over the other definitely has helped me talk to my family and friends, even though I have a busy schedule.
Have you ever had to choose between school, sports, or just your mental health in general, and what made you choose one of those over the other?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, I did dance growing up my entire life when I was a toddler up until sophomore year, freshman year. And that was really hard because I would have it like Monday through Friday after school, like until like 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. And like during the weekends we'd have competitions. So school I was falling really behind in school, and it was like my grades weren't as I would like them to be, and like my parents were really hard on me because they have this mindset like you have to be really good at dance, but then you also have to you have to get really good grades in school. And I was like, how am I supposed to like do that? Like, how am I supposed to study for all these big tests when I have like dance practice that night, and like I don't get home until like 8 sometimes.
Right.
And so it just like really like took a toll on my mental health because I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not perfect enough for anyone. And I was just like really sad all the time. And so then I was like, I really want to put myself first because my family like loved me doing dance. Like my parents paid so much money into doing it, so I never thought that I had the idea to quit just because they put so much money into it, and I'd feel bad like I don't want to do it anymore. And they're like, well, we spent all this money on you to do it. So like I felt guilty, but towards my freshman year, like all these things were coming up that I didn't do in middle school because of COVID, like going to football games, basketball games, like homecoming stuff. I couldn't really go to just because I had dance. And so I was just like, yeah, no, like I really don't like dance as much as I used to, and I kind of fell out of love with it. And like my parents are spending like thousands of dollars every year to pay for it, and I don't even like it. And like my grades weren't good, so I decided to quit dance. And like it was really hard telling my parents that because they like see me do it since I was like a kid. But I quit dance, and then I did it to be, I guess, more social in school because I had a lot more friends going into freshman year, and like everybody's new and meeting everyone, and like they were all going to these activities. And now I was like really excited to start going to them because I quit dance. And like it was hard quitting dance because I did it for so long, but quitting also is kind of a relief and like a weight lifted off my shoulders. So
yeah.
I don't do it anymore. And then I found a new sport in between because I met so many friends, and they're like, you should try lacrosse, and it's at school, so like my social life there was good. So I definitely put my high school activities before like dance, but I also didn't really like dance, so it wasn't really that bad, but that's how I did that.
Right. So when it comes to social life and social media and the popularity part of it, do you think that social media has had like a negative or positive or like even neutral impact on high schoolers?
Yeah, I think it definitely has a negative impact for me, I would say, just because people put things on social media that can be very like rude and like people bully people and like say these like negative connotation things. And it just like makes you think down on someone. And then also like I'm obsessed with TikTok, and like I see these beautiful girls on there.
Yes.
They have perfect body, perfect face, like everything about them is so pretty. And I'm like, dang, like what do I look like if they look like that? Like I must be ugly because they're like perfect. And I'm like, I have this image in my head like, oh my gosh, I need to look like that. But it's not like that at all. Like it should not be like that. So like I think social media definitely has a negative impact. I wouldn't say on like every high schooler, because some high schoolers thrive off of it and like are content creators and they make money and they actually like it. But I would say for me, it definitely has a negative impact because I'm always like double thinking on myself. Like I'm double downing myself. I'm like, this person looks like this, I need to look like this.
Right.
Like they like make fun of bigger people, and I'm like, well, if they think that person's big, what am I?
So you talk about feeling pressure from your parents when it came to dance and like being scared to tell them that you wanted to quit. Like how did you come over the pressure and from coaches and your parents?
Yeah, that part was really hard, but I honestly like prayed about it a lot, and I was just like, if it's meant to be, like my parents would totally understand, and they were like super supportive of me in every like decision I made. Yeah. But I just knew this one would like hit different just because I'd done it for so long, and so I was like very scared. But I literally just prayed about it, and I was like, well, like what should I do? Like how do I tell them? And then I'm like, well, I'm not gonna do dance my entire life. Like I'm not doing this in college. I'm not doing it after college. So it's like it's gonna happen sooner or later. So I might as well do it now. And so I told them, and they were a little sad, but they also were like, I'm glad you didn't like do it because we wanted you to. I'm glad you need to do things for yourself. And I'm like, yeah. So they understood, but it was like a bittersweet moment, I would say. Yeah.
Have you ever felt like you're running on empty? And how did you like rebuild yourself and give you that energy back to like continue hanging out with your friends and building your relationship with God and continuing to do like academics?
Yeah, no, I feel like now I'm running on empty just because like my schedule is crazy because lacrosse is starting and then basketball's still going on. So I'm like at school every day until like 9 p.m. And so like I just feel drained because then I wake up every morning at like 7 a.m. because I don't have a first period, but like I wake up because I also like need to go to the gym and like I can only find time in the morning to go. So I'm like always like drained, like mentally and like emotionally, I feel like.
Yeah.
And so it's like really hard. But I think one thing that's helped me like with that is like I take like 30 minutes of the day and I like just go outside and like sit in my porch and like just like get a feel for the air, if that makes sense. And it definitely like helps clear my mind. And then also like I read my Bible, and I haven't been consistent with it as much as I used to be, but I still find time, like especially on Sundays I go to church and I like listening to everyone else and them telling me about their week and how stressful it was. I'm like, wow, like they really get me. And I can connect to them through that. And like I always ask them like, what should I do, like how do I handle this situation with my friends, or like I'm feeling this type of way, and they usually tell me. And so, and I also like on the weekends I'm like have pretty chill weekends. Like I used to like party a lot, I would say, but now I'm definitely like dialed down, more chill and relaxed, and like just take the weekends for myself.
So when it comes to lacrosse, if you have a tough game, or like when it came to dance, if you didn't perform as well as you wanted on stage, like how did that take a toll on you, and how did you recover from that?
Yeah, when it came to lacrosse, it was really hard because like I was playing with all my best friends. So when one of us messed up, we would yell at each other, and like we would get in like screaming matches because I'm like, you did this wrong, and they're like, you did this wrong. And I was like, oh my gosh. So like it would kind of like mess up our friendship a little bit.
Right.
And I was like, dang, this really sucks. Like we shouldn't let a sport get to us. And so I like overcame that by just like not taking everything like, when you're in a like, lacrosse game and you do something wrong, like everyone messes up at one point. No one's perfect. So you kind of have to just understand and put yourself in their shoes. Like, okay, like I messed up before too. I shouldn't like blame them for everything because we lost a game. Like it's not their fault. It's like everyone's fault as a team. But in the moment, it's really upsetting because you're like, why would you do that?
Right.
So I just kind of had to tell myself like, chill, like think before what you say. Like don't say anything you're going to take back and regret, because then like your consequences later on are definitely going to affect your actions you do then. So it's better to just like not say anything. Like, and I like always say something when someone makes me mad, and I'm just like, no, like you're wrong. But I had to like learn like to keep my cool and patience. And so I honestly just like try to put myself in their shoes, and I'm like, it's okay, like I've messed up multiple times, it's fine. Right. Like it's not that bad. Like we don't even take it serious as it is. Like we just like troll. So it's like we shouldn't get mad over this. So that's how I just like think about my actions before I say it.
Right.
Sure.
So how would you stay what do you think is the best way to stay organized when feeling overwhelmed?
I think the best way to stay organized when feeling overwhelmed is honestly just like taking a breath for yourself. Like just take a moment and sit there and think about what you're about to do or what you're about to say before you say it, and like make sure like you're not going to regret it later on, because sometimes I'm like a person that'll say what's on my mind very quick, and then I'm like,
me too.
And at night I think about it, I'm like, I should have never done that. Never. I feel so guilty and remorseful. And so like I would say like the past couple of days I've just been thinking about like everything I've done, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I should not have done that. And so now I need to like learn, like I'm learning this myself, like as I'm talking, like I need to think about the things I do before I do them and see like if it hurts anyone later on, or if it's going to hurt me later on. So I just like honestly take a deep breath and like just think for like a minute or two, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do this. Or I am going to do it. Like one or the other.
So what tips would you give to people not only just in high school but middle school too, and like, you know, upcoming freshmen? What tips would you give to them to just help them balance their mental health while also sports and academics?
Honestly, I would just say like nothing is ever that serious, to be honest. Like we're all going to get there, so we're all going to graduate, we're all going to walk that stage. It's never that deep. And with sports, like I'm like not as competitive, but I know some people are super competitive and they like know what they want in life. And it's really hard because when you have someone on the team that isn't that competitive and don't take the sport serious, and you do, it can be difficult. But honestly, you just have to tell yourself like it's okay, like just bear with them, and like you have to think to yourself like they're not competitive and I am, and I'm gonna get somewhere in life, and they don't want to do this in life. So just like work your hardest to it, and like trust me, like people will come and see that. especially if like you're a leader, like you'll stand out right away. And grade wise, like, yeah, you should care about your grades, but honestly, I'm an IB and I put way too much stress on myself that I shouldn't have. And it definitely took like a mental toll on me because I'm like, oh my God, like I have this test tomorrow, I have this big test tomorrow, I have to pass my finals, or colleges won't want me. And it's like true to an extent, like you do have to study and you do have to care about your grades, but don't worry about it like every second of the day, because I used to do that. And I still got into all the colleges I applied to. So like do the work, but like don't like cry about it. Like I used to cry about all my tests. I'm like, I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna do this bad. No, it's never that deep. And even if you do fail, like everyone fails in life, like it's never that deep. Yeah. So like I would just like say like don't be scared going in it to anything. Always keep it open-minded. Yeah.
So how do you like recognize when your body is telling you to slow down?
Yeah, so I recognize that easily because you can just like tell on someone's face when they're like trained, I feel like. Yeah. Like if like I can wake up with like eye bags and I just don't feel good and I'm just like my head hurts, like everything hurts, like and I just like emotionally feel like down. Yeah. And I just know like my body's like, you're doing too much, you need to like take a chill pill. Yeah. Like relax, don't stress or worry about it too much. And I think it's like visible too, like you can tell when someone's like down. Like I feel like if you play a sport and like you are at practice and you guys practice every day, or you have like a big game or something, and like the next morning you can just tell like, oh, they look tired, like especially with football players. Yes. I can totally tell them. And I'm like, oh, maybe you should, because their coach is like really strict.
Very strict.
But yeah, no, you can like visibly tell. Yeah. And so I feel like your body will tell you too, like you need to slow down. And
also like with stress and stuff, like it'll literally come out of you.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I was to say, like, your actions will also tell you, because when you aren't as, like, energized, or, like, your body's not as, like, down as you are, I feel like you say and do things you don't really mean. Yeah. Because, like, I know when I had a really long night and I wake up the next day and just, like, I just act out, if that makes sense. Like, I kind of act angry, I would say. Like, I just don't feel like myself. And so, like, I say things or do things that I really wouldn't ever do, but that's just because, like, my mind isn't right, because I don't have enough sleep, or like I'm just doing too much the day before, and I'm like not the same person, I'm like a different person. So like you can tell by their actions too.
Thank you so much for coming. This is Valerie. She plays lacrosse obviously, but yeah.
Thanks.